So it's 9:02. I'm just going to say hello to everybody and welcome to the European Educational Leadership Week and also happy International Learning Day. I'm very excited for the 6 webinars that we have today, touching upon different topics such as artificial intelligence, safety in the use of digital tools, as well the cooperation between edtech companies and formal education provision, and of course the empowerment of the different stakeholders in the educational community for the use of these digital tools. So we begin with you. European School Heads Association coordinated this great webinar, Leading Transitions for Digitalization in Education. So Mirte will walk us through it now, and Mirte, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Sylvia. Indeed, my name is Mirte Stienstra. I'm a researcher project lead at the European School Heads Association. And first of all, on behalf of ESHA, I would like to welcome you all here today on this early morning. It's great to have you. And representing school leaders, ESHA is very happy to be part of and engaging the ELNE, the Educational Leadership Network Europe. Educational stakeholders are so closely linked, and where each individual stakeholder group has its own needs for support, the collaboration as well is invaluable. So briefly about ESHA. ESHA is a network organization for European school heads. Members of ESHA are national organizations for school heads and deputy school heads within pre-primary, primary, secondary, and vocational education. So nearly all European countries, both EU and non-EU, are represented within ESHA by either one or more organizations. And so ESHA maintains an international network through 38 member organizations in 26 European countries, which we're very happy with. In total, we represent and connect over 120,000 school leaders. And as such, we share and participate in European education research projects to support school leaders on topics like diversity, inclusion, arts education, science education, and where we're here for today, digitization. Now, one of the projects we were part of is DigiLEAD, supporting school leaders in building a digital transformation. This project was coordinated by Sofia University, and so calling in from Bulgaria today we have Albena Antonova. She's a senior assistant lecturer and researcher at Sofia University in the Faculty of Mathematics and Informatics. Her PhD thesis focuses on building smart services and knowledge management approaches in serious games. She has experience in topics such as smart services, serious games, digital transformation, raising digital skills and competences, knowledge management, open science, open innovations, active and inquiry-based learning, HCI, and innovative TEL models and methods. She has more than 70 publications. Very impressive. Me as being new in this topic, I can learn a lot from her. On project-wise, Albena is involved in numerous projects related to digital transformation of teaching and research, among which the DigiLEAD project, considering digital transformation in schools, DEMO, researching digital platforms, eCrea, involving climate change of build heritage and gamifications, and some of the other EU-funded projects related to digital skills, such as climate. The names here are great. Climate EPD.
TPD. Okay, so yes, it's about climate change in secondary education. So this is climate for the pedagogical training.
Great, thank you. I will not finish the entire list, but it's a long list. So welcome, Albena. And just to briefly go into DigiLEAD. So the DigiLEAD, we worked together for about 2 years, and the DigiLEAD project was finished in last December. All materials are now digitally available. So to us, this seemed like the perfect opportunity to present the outcomes. And as a happy coincidence, our second speaker today, Ronni Laursen, responded to the EELW call for research with his PhD research on challenges of digital tools for school leaders. Ronni is an assistant professor at the Aalborg University, Department of Learning and Culture in Denmark. His research interests revolve around analyzing the relationship between governance, school leadership, and teachers, with a specific focus on how governance shapes practices in schools. Within this context, Ronnie's PhD project investigated how governance through a digital platform influenced the practices of leadership and teachers. Now, his current project focuses on school leadership, student learning, and student well-being. So we figured it would be a mistake not to combine these two projects into a webinar. In the next hour, both speakers will present their works, and after each presentation, there is space for questions. So feel free to put your questions in the chat or raise your hand so you can be unmuted. So now let's get started. Ronni, you may kick off, and I will share your presentation.
Yeah, so we can see my presentation now, and thank you, Myrte, and good morning, everyone. I'm pleased to see so many faces here, and as Myrte said, I'm Ronni Laursen, an assistant professor at Aalborg University. So firstly, I want to express my gratitude for the opportunity to present my work here to the Educational Leadership Network Europe. Such driving force behind this webinar series, and also a special thanks to you, Myrte, for extending the invitation for me to speak. I believe that this educational leadership network plays an important role in addressing the many challenges school leaders faces as they are continuously navigating through new challenges and pressures from various stakeholders. So having a platform like this, where such issues can be openly discussed and knowledge can be shared across diverse contexts, I think is invaluable. Moreover, I also hope that that my presentation, titled "Challenges for School Leaders when Implementing Digital Tools," along with DigiLEAD's presentations together, will have the potential to offer both inspiration, but also critical insights for educational leaders grappling with digitalization in schools. And this perspective, I guess, will undoubtedly becomes even more crucial in the post-corona era, urging of education our children to students to become critical democratic citizens in an increasingly digital world. And with these introductory remarks, I'm ready for the next slide of my presentation. So the aim of this approximately 15 minutes presentation is to offer comprehensive insight accomplish this, I will draw upon data from my PhD thesis. And that research includes 31 interviews conducted with administrators in municipalities, Danish municipalities, and school leaders and teachers. And a historical approach where I investigated relevant documents and policies regarding the implementation of the learning management system in Denmark. And I also did a survey. Have slide 3 then.
Of course.
So this is the design of the Danish version of the LMS. And if we briefly characterize it, what an LMS is, then according to Jurid and colleagues, an LMS is a platform that enables users, and in our case that means teachers, to utilize various technologies to organize their work. The figure on the slide is intended to illustrate that the Danish context that in the Danish context, the expectation towards the LMS was that it would serve as a primary hub for teachers to organize their teaching activities. And this includes tasks such as creating new teaching courses and communicating with students and parents and sharing teaching materials with colleagues and much more. Essentially, it served as a digital platform actively used in both teaching and planning educational activities. Yes, I'm ready for the next slide.
Yes.
So when we progress, you can say that it's also critical to discuss the context for implementing the LMS in Denmark, because it was a heating context when the school leaders had to implement the tool. The figure on the slide illustrates that the mandatory implementation of the LMS must be understood in relation to at least two other significant school policies in Denmark, the 2014 school reform and Act 409, which is working our rules of the teaching of teachers' hours. And the 2014 reform aimed to bridge knowledge gaps, addresses social disparities, and prioritize student well-being. And two ways to realize this objective that relates to the LMS were to increase the students' number of lessons and to underpin a pedagogical approach, which in Denmark was called goal-directed teaching. And this is a teaching approach with visible goals, evaluation, and lots of data collection. For Act 4A was a regulation of the teachers' working hour regulation, and this act was a result of a heated conflict between teachers' union and the municipalities that administrate the schools in Denmark. And the municipalities log out the teachers from the schools in 5 days, and when the government did Act 409, they supported the municipalities' demands, and in relation to the 2014 reform, that said that the teachers should teach more without an increase of preparation time, the Act 409 allowed that. And for the academic year 16-17, it became mandatory to use the LMS in Danish public schools. And the LMS was a tool which design aimed to support that the teachers could do this goal-directed teaching, and also a tool that would make teaching much more efficient, so that the effects from the Act 409 wouldn't be felt by the teachers as so intensely, because the LMS would make the teaching so much efficient that they had to teach more shouldn't be a problem for them. But the context for this implementation of the tool from the academic year 16-17 was heated for the school leaders, as the teachers with this LMS was reminded of that conflict between the school teachers union and the municipalities. Yes, I think I'm ready for them. Yes. But okay, maybe I should have said that because of this, these political objectives embedded in the design of the LMS, I characterize the LMS as a digital governance of school leaders and the teachers' practice. Maybe also students, but I have not investigated that aspect. Maybe Alina can tell more about that. I don't know. But on this slide, called top-down implementation, as you also maybe already have gathered now, the implementation of the Danish schools was not initiated from the perspective of school leaders or school teachers. Instead, it was the top employers had to employ hard and soft power to ensure that the teachers began using the LMS. And it's rightly recognized that top-down implementations run the risk of employees not fully embracing these new practices. And to mitigate this, administrators and the LMS company themselves with the platform before integrating it into their teaching. And nonetheless, this process plan couldn't conceal the fact that the implementation was driven from the top down with the intention of changing teachers' practices in alignment with political objectives. And moreover, because of this mandatory nature of the school leaders were required to ensure that the teachers start using the platform. And this involved the use of hard power, where teachers were obligated to perform tasks such as creating their student plan and using the LMS, to the student plan and uploading their annual course materials into the platform. Yes. I would like the next slide now, please.
Should be on.
Thank you. You can see that you can say that in this presentation I highlight 6 problems related to this particular implementation of the learning management system in Denmark. But it is important for me to say that I discussed these 6 problems, but the actual issues are much more complex and far-reaching, which I of course detail in my papers. But the first and the second problem here on the slide are interconnected and revolve around the fact that the leaders I interviewed, they were not familiar with the functionalities of the LMS. They distributed or delegated the implementation at the schools to IT super users, that is teachers on the schools that have detailed knowledge of technical digital solutions. But the problem with that was that the leaders they didn't need to acquire the knowledge of the system's functionalities, and when the problem arises when the teachers were requiring some sort of guidance or support from the leaders when they faced problems. Then the leaders, they couldn't answer the teachers with satisfactory answers, because they don't know the functionalities of the LMS, and that demotivates the teachers. The third problem here is also linked to the first 2, because that was that the leaders were not actively involved, so they didn't feel responsible for it in the implementation phase, and they didn't develop what you can say strong feelings towards it, and consequently they did not take the ownership of the implementation and the LMS itself within the schools. Yes, then I'm ready for the next slide. Oh, one back, please. I got one called, yes, perfect. So when I'm continuous with this discussion of problems related to the teacher's practice and their perceptions of the LMS. And this first issue is that despite the initial belief that the LMS would streamline teachers' work, making tasks such as sharing teaching material easier, the teachers, they actually did not find the LMS as intuitive. Instead, they perceived it as a time consumer rather than a time saver at the schools, because they had to learn this new approach. And furthermore, the involvement of the IT super users, remember that's teachers with this extensive knowledge of digital tools and solutions. They were very much part of the implementation process at the schools, and that's only enhanced the problem because many of the IT super users, they questioned why they were required to implement a system that they viewed as a poor system compared to tools like Google Classroom, because they were so much into these new technologies that they found better tools out there on the internet and used them for their practice. So they found it actually the Danish version of the LMS much more poor suited to their daily teaching. So the IT super users, they didn't develop an ownership to the platform either. And this ties into the third problem, where many teachers regarded the LMS as poorly designed, requiring too many clicks to access the function they needed. And overall, these issues highlighted the disconnect between the intended beliefs of the LMS and experience with its functionalities and usability. The problem with this is that when to start the implementation of new digital tool, it's very important that the system actually is ready to go and easy to start using. And many of the teachers I interviewed, they did not feel that the LMS was ready to go when they had to start using it. Yes, the next slide, please. Thank you. So when I present my data from the survey data, you can see that that data indicating that despite of the mandate for Danish teachers to use the LMS as part of their daily teaching from the academic year 2016-17, adoption has not yet become a widespread practice in Danish schools. This is in 2020, yeah. So that was 3 years after they had to start using the platform. And the data reveals that reveals a significant concern that 17% of the teachers did not use the LMS at all. And from a state perspective, this statistic is alarming, especially considering the mandatory nature of its implementation. You can say that I cannot directly correlate these but what is evident here is that the implementation did not unfold as planned, that because the teachers simply did not begin using the platform as expected, and that highlights the gap between policy mandates and actual practice on the ground. Yes, and then the next slide. And these are the concluding remarks of my presentation. So to conclude this presentation on the challenges school leaders faces when implementing digital tools, it is crucial to recognize the significant risk of teachers' resistance to adopting the platform into their teaching practice. As I highlight in my papers, the design of the LMS emphasizes political governance, serving as a reminder of the struggle between the Danish Teachers Union and politicians since the lockout in 2013. Additionally, as mentioned earlier, the lack of ownership of the LMS by school leaders has also impacted the teachers' ownership of the platform. While leaders did not fulfill, or they did fulfill their administrative duties in organizing the implementation of the school in the phases, which was which you can say that their municipalities and the come.
I'm sorry, Ronni, you're cutting out again.
I'm cutting out again. Can you?
The last,
so you cannot hear me now.
Just the last sentence.
So you haven't heard anything of the concluding remarks.
No, just the last sentence.
Okay, just the last sentence. Okay, so I said that the leaders, they actually did what the municipalities and the LMS companies suggested. They did this in the phase, but I argue in the papers that their disengagement from the process has had a negative effect on the teachers' engagement with the LMS. So moving forward, addressing these challenges requires an approach that that consider both the structural and cultural aspect of implementation. And I guess that it's essential for school leaders to take active ownership of the implementation process and to foster a supportive environment where teachers feel empowered to embrace the digital tools in their teaching practice. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Ronni. I will stop my presentation so I can see you as well again. And thank you so much. First of all, I was curious if there's any questions already raised in the chat. And I see that it's currently not the case. We will have to move on, but Ronni, I was just curious as you're talking, because your concluding remarks, I think, are a perfect bridge towards Albena in a second. But I was wondering when the government was making it mandatory to start using the LMS, what activities did they undertake, or what training offers or opportunities did they give to trainers, to teachers and school leaders?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. The government made it mandatory for the school year 16-17, but they actually did not provide any kind of support towards it. They just said that this is the tool, and you have to, or at least in 2015, they had to buy the tool from a private operator, the municipalities, and they did that. And then they just were on their own. So it were in some municipalities, they did some sort of knowledge sharing activities and so forth, but from the state side, there wasn't any competence development or anything like that.
All right, thank you. Yeah,
so they were actually on their own. Yeah,
that's a major challenge. Well, thank you. I would probably go into it a bit more, but because of time, I would say let's go to Albena, and we can always come back to questions related to your research later on.
Super.
Albena.
Yeah.
Thank you. It was quite interesting outcomes from the Ronni's presentation, and I can share that in Bulgaria we have some kind of problems, but not with learning management system, but with the school administration system, and it was a nightmare for the schools and for the teachers and for the schools leaders. So just a little remark about the DigiLEAD. The DigiLEAD was a really amazing project, and we have a very good pleasure, a very great pleasure to coordinate this and to bring it to several European countries. What we can see, and from the perspective of time, is that the school education is rather national organized, and it's the challenges are more or less the same, but in every case, in every country, there's different struggles, and that's what another issue that we saw is that something that is very well known for one countries are not really good, well researched for the other countries. So, so this is very short, the visit card for the DigiLEAD project. It is Erasmus Plus project, a cooperation partnership in school education. It is it started in January 2022 and finished actually on the 31st of December 2023, and it was about 2-year project. The next slide. We have partners from, so we are coordinating the project from ITD, which is a spin-off of Sofia University. And we have partners from Cyprus, from Greece, from Netherlands, and from Portugal. So we bring together universities and research centers, and of course the Asia as European School Heads Association, and we have as well municipality, which is a public administration body, which help us a lot to have an external view of the whole process. So the next slide. Just to see our learning, teaching, training activity that was held in Athens, and to see our team a little bit more. Okay, the next slide. So what are the main objectives of the project? To support digital transformation in education in the partner countries and Europe. So the specific objectives are that, so just a little remark, this is the first and the only Erasmus Plus project dedicated on training school leaders and school directors on how to transform digitally the education. So this is a very unique perspective to orient it training for school leaders. So the specific objectives of DigiLEAD is to support school leaders and staff to develop a digital transformation strategy. So this is a little bit top-down approach, how to approach school leaders, how to transform the strategies in the schools. To develop competencies, and we actually developed practical toolkits, different kind of tools. We adopted selfie and TEDSAT tools to support digital strategy, and of course to prepare school leaders, teams, teachers, students, and the other stakeholders about what is that digital transformation. The next slide. So the target groups are primary and secondary school leaders, teachers, support staff, learning designers, educational technologies, policymakers, and students and parents. Next slide. So these are the four main results from the project. I'd like today to show you a little bit more about digital transformation strategy toolkit and how useful it is. And then we have a training course for school leaders, the e-learning platform where this course can be used as a standalone application, and collection of case studies and policy recommendations. Next. So the strategy toolkit, this is a result which involves the design and development of comprehensive toolkit. It became really, really good and quite interesting guideline how to use and how to approach digital transformation from a strategic point of view. The next slide. Then we have the result 2. It's the training course. It contains guidelines, and it has 3 modules that every school can organize it in their own school. So you can download it. Here it is the project website, and you can download it and adapt it to your schools. The next slide. And in case you want to go through the e-learning platform, this is the web address of the platform, and you can do this alone. So this is not necessary to be face-to-face. You can do through the through different modules and to obtain a valuable understanding. And there's a lot of exercises and gamified resources, so it's quite interesting and approachable. And the last results is about the collection of case studies, policy recommendations. There's some very good examples and implementations in each partner country. There are many successes and challenges, and all these tools and all these materials are available on partner language. So these all these tools are on English, on Bulgarian, on Greek, on Portuguese, Dutch. Yeah, so you can take a look on the website. So now I would like to show a little bit more about the result one. And this is the digital transformation strategy toolkit for school leaders. Why I want to, yes, yes, the main point is that here you have a very comprehensive book. It's about 130 pages, and but it is 11 chapters. But these chapters are very well and how to say very practical oriented, and you can go and take a look on one or two another chapter. You can see here these are. Creating a school vision and objectives, so the strategic point of view, why we need this kind of digital transformation thinking. So this is not just buying a tool or buying an infrastructure, it's about making a strategy how to digitally transform the school. Then we have some familiar SWOT analysis. It came out from our reviews that some teachers say that this is well known. For some countries, SWOT analysis for school is a totally new tool. So that's why we have to be aware that it's not everywhere the same, especially in the rural areas. People don't understand how to do this properly. Then we have the chapter curriculum alignment, assessment, innovative teaching and learning strategies, and infrastructure needs and adaptation. Of course, infrastructure is different in different schools, and there's a lot of struggles of that. Then we have several chapters about timelines, scheduling, ongoing monitoring, roadmap, how to ensure that digital transformation is not finishing. It's an ongoing process, and continuous evaluation and support. And the last three chapters are about support for teachers, support for students and parents, and privacy, health, well-being for teachers and students. So very important questions that are not really well addressed in national strategies. The next slide. So every chapter has the same structure. So we have introduction with the main challenges, then we have methodologies and tools. And the important thing is that in the chapters are directly identified the specific selfie and TED-SAT questions that can be used for this specific issue. So it's not necessary to go and consult other things. Then we have a roadmap, action plan, what to do, practical steps. And at the end of the chapters, we have good practices and examples. And this is quite useful to see the process from theoretical point of view, from methods and tools, from what to do next, and at the end, what are the best practices. So next, I would like to show you very fast some of the key elements and insight from the chapters. Okay, so the first is about digital strategy and creating a school vision and setting strategic objectives and putting digital transformation in them. So this is quite important because school leaders have to understand that it's not just buying another 3D printer or just buying another tool, because tools are already all the time are emerging. Now everybody speaks about ChatGPT or some AI tools in education, but in our project we didn't even imagine that we will have such kind of things. Even 1 year ago, when we make our training in Greece and we discussed about ChatGPT, people were really amazed why we speak about these tools. Are they interesting for us? I want to say that we have to embrace the digital transformation as an ongoing process. All the time there will be some new things that will be very transformative, and we have to be just prepared that we don't need to ask them. We have to accept and know what to do next. So the next slide. It's about SWOT analysis of the tool, and again, there's many good practices and good examples on that. The next slides. So curriculum alignment, it's important to know how to put together all components of the educational system to achieve the goals of the digital transformation. So it's not just about the tools, but it's about the learning content, the learning objectives, the program, the attainment of the targets, the assessment guidelines, the syllabi, the possibilities of the digital education. So the point is that school leaders have to understand that it's not just to have the tool, it's to use the tool in the best way to achieve the best results for the best situation. So this is a quite difficult orchestration model. The next chapters address the assessment with digital tools. So how students learn, their motivation, how teachers teach. And this is quite interesting issue because there's a lot of research nowadays about learning analytics. And we didn't put specific focus on that in this chapter, but actually very soon data analysis and learning analytics will be very useful tools to understand how to improve specific issues in educational process. The next chapter is about infrastructure needs and adaptations. So every time we speak about different needs of the schools for infrastructure, for internet connections. Even today we see that internet connection is a very important issue. Adaptations, how to adapt to different needs, different learning needs, different new technologies. And then we have the chapter of the scheduling, the monitoring, the planning process. Next. Continuous evaluation and support. Practical suggestions, how to understand together whether a plan is progressing within the time frame, and how to check the milestones. And then innovative teaching and learning strategies, using innovative teaching and learning strategies to ensure that teachers are efficient, the teaching is personalized and student-oriented. Next. Support for teachers, support for students and parents. So these are very specific chapters and very important one. They are based on the Comp Edu framework and on TPAC model in order to be sure that the teachers are well assisted when are introduced the new technologies in class. And in different classes, the new technologies will be introduced in a different way. And support for students and parents. So it's very important to say why and how digital technologies involve everybody, especially families, parents, stakeholders, how the family can be involved to make a positive difference in students' outcome. And there cover different good practices in this direction. The next slide. And the last chapter is about privacy, health, and well-being for teachers and students, and it introduced the notion of digital well-being, which is a kind of new concept. And this is the main point that we have to learn how to live with digital tools and to be healthy and to be in a good condition with all these digital tools around us. So the chapter aims to instruct school leaders to have a strategic perspective about the new realms, about the new era when all of us will have to live with digital tools in a healthy and well-balanced way. So the next slide is about where you can take the toolkit. It's available on all partner languages. And of course, you can see all the other materials on the website of the project. So the last slide is about the Q&A. Thank you for your attention. And I'm really happy to present some of the outcomes of DigiLEAD.
Thank you so much, Albena. Very clear presentation, I think. Yeah, I'm biased here. I was part of the project, so I think it's very, very good indeed. And well, what I think is nice about it is that it's a practical toolkit. You mentioned at the beginning, different countries have different level of progression in this, have different levels of support. Also from a governmental governmental support. And what's nice about the results, the toolkit, is that it's not so much about how far you are, but what you can work within what you have, and practical steps to do that. And the question I was going to ask you, Albena, is could you tell us a little bit more about the implementations and the responses you got for implementing and sharing this toolkit and the training that you mentioned?
So actually, I'm now preparing the reporting of the um, of the project, and I can see that there are many dissemination events in all partner countries, and I can share you that in all partner countries, in all pictures that I see, many teachers, many school leaders are very carefully listening, very interested in these results. And what I see from our partners, from my own impression, is that this is a very needed project. People say that this is quite important just now when because let's say when we have the pandemic, it was a must. Everybody has to do something, not the best thing for the moment, but something to work. And now we have to reflect. And now with ChatGPT and all AI tools, in fact, everybody see that this is serious, and we cannot just go away and forget about that, because there was a very big problem after the pandemic. That was digital fatigue. Everybody said, "I don't want to see the computer anymore." not for teaching, not for training. And now with the ChatGPT, we see that that would be something different. So we need to talk about that. We need to reflect about that. And I can see that everywhere these results are very well appreciated. So I can just recommend it. Please go ahead and take a look on it. You cannot see that for the first time. You have to go and dive in a little bit to understand the value of that. It's not.
Yeah, it's an elaborate process. On the topic of ChatGPT, we will, well, in more general generative AI, we have another webinar panel this afternoon. So for those interested, we'd love to see you there. And then, Ronni, I see there's one more question towards you in the chat that I overlooked earlier. Following the last concluding remarks where many teachers ended up not using the LMS, I wonder if you identified cases of peer learning among the school leaders or teachers that boosted its use from one of the ELNE.
Yeah, it's a very good question. And actually, in my interviews, I did not identify that. But in the survey data, we actually did, we, together with a colleague, Felix Weiss, we did some data analysis where we can see that if the leaders, they were transformational in their approach, so that if they had a transformational leadership approach towards the implementation, then the success rate actually increased quite a lot for those leaders that did that. And some of the items which we measured was that did if the teachers perceived that the school leaders were very much engaged in the implementation process, and those teachers that perceived that also used the platform a lot more than the teachers did not perceive that. But with times peer learning, well, I actually I don't know about that. But I do know that the leaders that were actually engaged in the process also had a bigger success rate for implementing. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you, Ronni. Are there any more questions from the audience? You can raise your hand or ask it in the Q&A. Otherwise, I would like to say from my side, Albena and Ronni, thank you so much for sharing your research with us and your tools. I think it's very insightful to see the challenges, but also see what we can use, what tools there are available. So I'm very happy you both were here and presenting, and we had a nice audience. And well, I hopefully see you for the rest of the day as well. I think, Sylvia, you might want to say some concluding words, but thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Mirte. I definitely echo your comments, and I thank Albena and Ronni and you as well for organizing this webinar. And of course, the one coming up this afternoon is a busy day today. So hopefully we will see you there, and we invite you as well to join us for the next one in 15 minutes, actually, also about artificial intelligence and the importance of it being human-based and inclusive for everybody. So I think my colleague Monica, she dropped the links for registrations in the chat. You can go register and you will receive the link to join. So we'll see you hopefully in 15 minutes. And thank you again to everybody for joining us today.
Thank you.
Have a great
thank you,
day.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.